Hello everyone, welcome to Learn ReactJS for Frontend Development by CodeChef. In today's lesson, we'll be looking at immutability in state management and we'll understand how the useRef hook works. You will learn why React expects state updates to be immutable, how it relies on object references to detect changes, and how using the useRef hook allows us to interact with the DOM without triggering unnecessary re-renders. So let's begin. In this lesson, we'll understand how React manages state internally and how it interacts with the DOM efficiently. We'll focus on two key ideas: immutability in state updates and the useRef hook. In React, state should never be modified directly. Instead of changing existing data, we always create a new version of the state. React depends on this approach because it tracks changes using references and not by deeply checking values. So here's a common mistake. Directly changing a property on a state object is mutation, and React cannot reliably detect it. The correct approach is to replace the entire object using the stateSetter function, which creates a new object in memory. In JavaScript, objects are stored by reference. Even if two objects look identical, they are different if they are created separately. React uses this reference comparison to decide whether something has changed. Each time React renders a component, it creates a snapshot of the current state and props. Event handlers always see the state from the snapshot in which they were created, even if the state updates later. So what is useRef? useRef is a special React hook that lets us store a value across renders without triggering a re-render. Think of it as a box that React preserves but does not watch for UI updates. One of the most common uses of useRef is interacting with DOM elements directly. This includes focusing inputs, scrolling elements, or triggering animations, tasks where a re-render is unnecessary. So let us look at the key takeaways for this particular lesson. Always update state immutably so React can detect changes correctly. Remember that references matter more than values. Use useRef when you need persistence without re-renders, especially for DOM manipulation. So let us walk through this component and understand how useRef helps us manipulate the DOM without causing unnecessary re-renders. At the top, we first import useState and useRef from React. Now, inside the Focus Manager component, first we create a state variable called isFocused, which is initially set to false. This state is only used to apply a visual style when the input is focused. It does not control the focus itself. Next, we create inputRef using useRef null. This reference will later store the actual input DOM element. React keeps this reference persistent across renders without triggering the re-render when it changes. Now let's look at the handle focus function. When the focus button is clicked, we call inputRef.current.focus, and this directly tells the browser to focus the input element. After that, we update isFocus to apply the focusing style. Similarly, in the handle blur function, we call inputRef.current.blur to remove focus from the input. Then, we update the state to remove the visual highlight. In the JSX, we connect the ref to the input element using ref equal inputRef. This is what allows React to store the input DOMs node inside inputRef.current. The class name of the input changes based on the isFocus state, but the actual focus and blur behavior is handled entirely through useRef. Below the input, we have two buttons. The first button triggers handle focus and the second triggers handle blur. These buttons demonstrate how we can control the DOM behavior directly using refs, without relying on React re-renders to manage focus. The key idea to remember here is that useRef is ideal for DOM manipulation and for storing values that should persist across renders without affecting the UI. This makes it different from useState, which should be used only when a change needs to be reflected on the screen. This example clearly shows us how useRef and useState work together, each serving a distinct purpose in a clean and efficient React component. So let's just run this code once. So let me give a bird. So you can see I can focus on the input or blur the input based on the button I am clicking. Let's just submit this code once. So this code is correct and we have passed the test case. So that's it for this lesson. To really understand this concept, make sure to head over to the CodeChef platform and try out the practice problems yourself. That's where the real learning happens. That was it for this lesson and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.